I'm David Hepworth. Thanks for clicking this Word in Your Ear podcast, videocast, thing for which there is no name. Mark Ellen and I have been creating in this line since 2007. And if any of it has met with your approval, then please click to subscribe because it helps. Leave a comment because we like to hear from you, and maybe even consider becoming a Patreon supporter because then, well, you'll be one of us. Visit patreon.com/wordinyour-ear for details.
You're listening to a podcast from The Word.
Alex, good news. I've got a stack, Waddy.
That's fabulous news. Please proceed.
Isn't it just? You'll like this one. It's this is American pop singers who have posed nude for Playboy.
Okay.
Okay, and I've got, I think, how many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, and one of them is, I've made it up. Okay. So here we go. Tiffany. You remember Tiffany, the star of I think We're Alone Now and all that stuff? Yep. Just think about that. Mm-hmm. LaToya Jackson.
Okay.
Belinda Carlisle.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy Sinatra. Debbie Gibson.
Who's
Debbie Gibson? Debbie Gibson. Oh, good grief. Debbie Gibson had a hit. Sometime in the 80s. I don't know. Anyway, stand on me. Debbie Gibson. Okay. And Cher. Okay. So there's your 6. Tiffany, LaToya, Belinda Carlisle, Nancy Sinatra, Debbie Gibson, and Cher.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure that LaToya Jackson has posed nude.
She did, and the line was Michael's sister in a Thriller pictorial. I've got quotes from the covers here.
Okay, nice.
In every case. Go on. That was 1989, LaToya posed naked for Playboy. Go on.
Remind me who was after LaToya again.
Well, Tiffany was before LaToya and Belinda Carlisle.
Belinda Carlisle. Okay, right.
Yes.
Ooh, that's a tricky one. I would say that Tiffany, I don't think I'm gonna park Tiffany for a second.
Okay, all right.
Belinda Carlisle, the singer of Heaven is a Place on Earth, right?
Yeah, all that stuff.
Belinda's correct.
Yeah. Well, the Go-Go's and all that stuff, yeah.
I wouldn't be utterly surprised if she had a dabble.
Now you've got to come down on one side of the fence or not.
Oh man, do I have to? Okay.
Yes.
Belinda Carlisle. You know what? No, I'm going to go against my instinct here. Belinda Carlisle didn't pose for Playboy.
No, she did. In 2001, the cover line was Go Go Girl. Belinda Carlisle rocks naked.
Damn it. Okay.
There you go. We're moving on. Nancy Sinatra.
Definitely.
She did it. She did in 1995. She does it her way was the line. Would you believe? Okay, so Debbie Gibson, who you didn't believe in, do you think she posed naked for Playboy or not?
It's very difficult for me to make a call on a person I didn't know existed.
Well, she did. 2005. Teen Queen Deborah Gibson, nude, I think is what it said. So that leaves us with Cher and, what did we say? Tiffany.
Tiffany.
Yes.
I'd say that Tiffany's clearly the ringer in my mind.
No, you're wrong. She appeared naked on the naked in Playboy, 2002. Teen Queen totally nude is what it says here. The one I made up actually was Cher.
Crikey.
She didn't in an extraordinary, colourful and lengthy career in which she's done pretty much everything that anybody could ever be required to do in showbiz. She's not. She did turn up to the Playboy Club in 1971 and wear the bunny ears and the tail. And apparently they said she looked very good in the costume, but she never has posed nude for Playboy.
Didn't Debbie Harry start her career as a Playboy bunny?
She was a Playboy bunny, wasn't she? In one of them. And of course, Madonna was on the cover of Playboy in 1985, where the line was, what was the line? Come on, think about it, Alex. What was the line? Obviously,
like a virgin.
Unlike a virgin.
Unlike
it was
a virgin.
unlike a virgin.
Nice.
But she didn't pose for those. There was pictures that they bought in, I think, that she'd pose for elsewhere. So there you go. And now, so what do the following people? We're moving on to another subject. It might sound like a quiz, but it's not really. What do the following people have in common? Jennifer Lopez, Ride, Magazine, Squeeze, Dougie Fresh, Moby, and from next week, Ed Sheeran. Okay, Jennifer Lopez, Ride, Magazine, Squeeze, Dougie Fresh, Moby, and from next week, Ed Sheeran. What are they going to have in common?
Crikey, that's quite a disparate selection of people.
But let me tell you what it is. Next week, they'll all have in common the fact that they all will have released an album called Play.
Oh,
Play.
Really?
Yes. I thought I read the news that Ed Sheeran's new album's called Play. I thought, my God, that's uninspired. Surely, isn't it?
But all of Ed Sheeran's albums are monosyllabic kind of symbolic things, aren't they? He had plus, he had sort of minus, divide. Actually, they aren't monosyllabic at all, but they're symbol
right.
based.
Okay, yeah.
And so play sort of makes sense because they've been represented not by the word but by the symbol.
Oh, right.
So this is clearly like the right facing triangle, right?
Well, I suppose so, because that's what happened on Moby's Play, wasn't it? I think that was the logo on the cover of the Moby album Play, the one that had all the old samples of Bessie Jones, whatever she was called, and that turned up on loads of ads. I mean, I think dull album titles are a crime, frankly. You know, I think album titles should be charismatic in some way or another. You know, and I was thinking about this. In a minute, I'm going to ask you what you think is the best album title ever. But I'm going to tell you
the best of the Beatles.
Yes, the best of the Beatles. Yes, because Wings' greatest hits or whatever. Do you know what the first Rolling Stones album was called, Alex?
Was it not just called Rolling Stones?
It was called the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Now, what was the second Rolling Stones album called?
Oh man, okay. See, the Rolling Stones chronology, I'm not.
Oh, okay. No, just have a guess. Have a guess.
Oh man, it's at the tip. Oh no.
No, it's not at the tip of your tongue because it was called the Rolling Stones #2.
Was it really?
Yes, it really was. It's pretty remarkable. You think about it now. Because Peter Gabriel had, what is it, 4 or 5 solo albums, all called Peter Gabriel?
That's confusing. Why did he do that?
Well, there were different graphics, but I just think he thought it was a sort of
you wouldn't do that with singles, would you?
Cool, interesting idea. No, but they were all called Peter Gabriel. Anyway, first Rolling Stones album called Rolling Stones. Second Rolling Stones album called the Rolling Stones #2. So the third album had to have a name.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great name. And no, I don't know whether it's the greatest ever, but it's the one that came to mind when I was thinking about this issue prior to this recording. The third Rolling Stones album, certainly in the UK, was called Out of Our Heads, which I think is such a good title. You know, because it's got your 2 meanings, and it's
very evocative, isn't it?
And it's heads,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And it's got a fabulous cover anyway. It's a wonderful Geraint Magvitz picture,
and also because it's kind of in a collective first person, it kind of takes you into their minds, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, you know, that's not necessarily the greatest album title, but it's a brilliant album title.
Solid 8.
It's an absolutely solid 8, you know, and albums that have good titles, you feel warm about far longer than most records. Taylor record has got a terrible title, which strangely enough people feel really warm towards. Pet Sounds.
Yeah, that is a bit rubbish, isn't it?
And also the Americans say Pet Sounds. whereas the British don't say Pet Sounds.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know why exactly.
And which is the correct inflection?
I don't know. But I think it's a terrible title.
It might be a sort of Matt Berry thing where it's Pet Sounds.
Whereas Beach Boys albums, Surf's Up is a great title. It's a better title than it is an album, actually.
I think Pet Sounds, for me, like the combination of the album title and the goats on the cover, it just doesn't really,
San Diego Zoo or whatever it was,
Doesn't really scream Fantastic Journey.
It looks like the corniest pictorial in a magazine you could possibly imagine.
Imagine if What's the Story Morning Glory had a picture of a cat on a sofa.
So which brings me to, what is your favourite album title? And is it What's the Story Morning Glory?
No, it's definitely up there. There's something.
It is up there, you see, and I speak as somebody who's got no particular.
You don't like them at all, do you? But
I'm not bothered about them at all. It's a brilliant title. It's an absolutely brilliant title because it invites you into an apparently secret world.
It kind of does, yeah. And because it asks a question as well,
and it's got a rhyme. It's got an internal rhyme in it. It's a terrific title.
The bracketing as well.
Yeah.
That's,
Can I tell you a rotten title has just come to me?
Okay.
Rotten title. I hate it. OK Computer. Oh, God. I hate that. The soul shrivels every time I read those words.
It is. Well, I think that, but it aligns with that album's aesthetic perfectly. So I think under any other circumstances, it would be a terrible album title. But because it's Radiohead and because it's that album.
All right, so you let them. So what do you think is the best one?
Strange Ways, Here We Come.
And that, of course, that's the Smiths.
Yeah. Again, it involves you. That whole phrase sounds like it's moving and it's somehow yanking you along with it into some kind of trouble that you've got no idea about. It sounds fluid. It sounds exciting.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
How many people reading that title or hearing that title are aware that it refers to a jail? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't matter because Strange Way sounds like something that could have been lifted out of Middle-earth.
Okay.
So it's evocative just on its own merit. And if you know about Manchester prisons, then, it takes on a different meaning. But I don't think it can't really lose, I don't think.
No, okay, I'll give you that. But there must be loads of people, American Smiths fans who are not aware of,
They just think it's a quaint English place
I
name.
suppose. Yes, I suppose so.
Because it sounds like one, doesn't it? It's not Pentonville, Here We Come, or something.
No, that's true. Yeah, it is the most darkly charismatic of Britain's
it's almost
penal institutions, isn't it?
Absolutely.
They say Dartmoor always sounds like
it sounds stark, doesn't it?
It's cold, isn't it? On top of everything else, Okay, I'll give you that. So anyway, Alex, you've been away.
I have. Actually, before we start, I want to know what your favourite album title is.
Well, I'd say something like Out of Our Heads. I think it's things like I like long ones. I like things like The Wild, the Innocent, and the East Street Shuffle.
Oh, that's lovely.
I like things you can roll around your tongue. I like things that I think that whole area of when you used to read about records before they came out, and they were almost more fun before you had them. When you learned that the Rolling Stones had a new album coming out called Aftermath. Wow.
And the
first track is Mother's Little Helper. Wow. What's that got to be all about? There was a whole world of kind of anticipation involved in those kind of things. And so I've always been really attracted by those kind of titles, It's all sorts of odd stuff. But as a good starting point, I do think the Rolling Stones Out of Our Heads is a perfect example, really. So anyway, you've been away. You've been planning this trip for some while, haven't you, Alex? Because for Alex, who is Oasis fan number one. You know, he's got his little card from the fan club, serial number one. Not for him. Not for him, the kind of tiresome business of going to see them at Heaton Park or wherever it was in Manchester.
So passé.
So passé. Is he bothered about going to, you know, to Edinburgh to see them at Murrayfield? No. Would he bother? Wembley Stadium, don't make me laugh. No, that's far too easily achievable. No, he's going to go. Where did you go, Alex?
I saw them at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, Los Angeles.
So, how did you did this because you couldn't get a ticket in Britain? Was that the first point?
Yeah. What happened was I spent 8 hours on the UK release. The website thought I was a bot in the end and kicked me out.
Eight hours? Did you seriously spend 8?
Yeah, I did. I would have spent 16, but I was only able to spend 8. Cue me slamming laptop down in a huff, muttering, "I preferred Blur anyway," under my breath. So I thought I'd, put that to bed. Anyway, my better half, who's American, she got on the American release, US release, and within 20 minutes, she got us tickets to the LA gig. So that's a keeper, Dave. That's what they call a keeper. And so we organised this a year ago.
So it was easier to get a ticket in Los Angeles. Does that mean that?
I think there was just generally less fervour in the States, in the UK, because we've got such a different relationship with Oasis over here.
Right.
Because obviously they were at one point a phenomenon. They swept over the whole country, whereas America didn't have that. It was pockets. And so,
yes,
you didn't have the whole country clamouring to get tickets at exactly the same time.
No, I suppose not. So the Rose Bowl, how big is it?
I think it's 90,000 people.
90?
Yeah,
crikey, I mean, that's more than Wembley.
It's big. It's a big old stadium. Yeah.
Bloody hell.
And it was full. It was sold out. It was completely sold out.
Now you said to me when you when you originally got these tickets, you said, "I quite like going to see them in the States because I can't bear British Oasis fans."
British Oasis fans, yours truly excluded, are the worst.
Really? Why?
Well, it's just 50,000 like pint pots filled with wee, just kind of like you're being chucked around a stadium. Whereas in LA, it's wheatgrass smoothies.
Wheatgrass smoothies.
Wheatgrass smoothies, yeah.
That's supposed to mean something to me.
Well, instead of people throwing around glasses full of their own wee, they're throwing around health drinks.
Right.
In theory, anyway.
So it's a different demographic, as you would say.
I suppose what I'm trying to say is, Oasis, maybe less so these days. Actually, I think this time round, actually, like kind of the football hooligans have either gone or grown up, and it's very much more a civilized crowd. But historically, Oasis fans were probably the loutiest musical contingent you could possibly imagine. And in America, again, they don't really have that demographic for that band. That demographic chases different artists over there.
So who goes to see Oasis in America? Is it the same kind of people who go to see Coldplay?
I think it is across the board now. I think I was a little bit hasty in my judgment of Oasis fans in 2025 because it seemed to me that people there, certainly around me were middle-aged couples, and there were people with kids. It was the family demographic. So
it wasn't Larry young blokes, which would have been the demographic back in the day.
It would have been the demographic back in the day, and the Larry young blokes of today are they're going to see the Oasis of their time, I suppose. But these are all people, I guess, who have grown up with Oasis in some way. But interesting, there were quite a lot of 20-somethings there, it seemed, as well.
All right.
And I think the fascinating thing about Oasis is how their music seems to have spoken across generations. And maybe that's because Liam Gallagher is the perennial teenager, and that makes him somehow relatable to everyone. All
right. So what was it like going to see such a British institution in the United States? Was it like, I've always wanted, they always talk about taking a Premier League football match to the States, having one a year or something. which I know there are massive objections to, which I probably share. But if it ever happened, I'd love to be there because I'd love to be amongst a bunch of Americans watching football.
It's
because
like when they bring the LA
football is
Lakers.
such a European, non-American thing.
Totally. It's like when they bring the LA Lakers over to Wembley, isn't it? We don't really understand that kind of,
There's a load of Americans. There are a load of Americans in Europe who come and watch NFL games when they're played at Tottenham or whatever. But presumably you go see Oasis at the Rose Bowl. Most of the crowd are American. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there were loads of expats. I mean, as soon as I got to the airport, I was seeing Oasis T-shirts and Burnley accents everywhere. Right. So that, I mean, I think there were a lot of a lot of.
So in Britain, the response to Oasis was a massive, great sing along, wasn't it?
It was.
Whereas, can Americans sing along to Oasis in the same way?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was phenomenal. I'd never witnessed such deep joy in such a large space ever, and those songs are so bulletproof, and I think they speak to people on a really sort of profound level, a really simple yet profound level about somehow the nature of everybody's existence, and that's why they connect so deeply. And it was wonderful. I mean, there wasn't quite the same fervour as you had in Croke Park in Dublin, for example, or Wembley. It's like I say, the British have got a very different, much deeper relationship with Oasis. Somehow they represent us all, and America.
Speak for yourself, mate.
But America doesn't quite have the same connection, but
it couldn't do.
Those who do connect with them very, very deeply indeed. And and I think they're connecting with America on a level that they didn't the first time around. The thing was, Oasis always existed on the precipice of chaos, didn't they? And part of the appeal was that this could go wrong at any moment. And we all like to watch a car crash, right? That was kind of what drew you in. They're a completely different beast this time round. Liam Gallagher is a professional performer now, and he's all the better for it, don't get me wrong. But America likes a polished show. And this is the most polished and muscular and Olympic fitting Oasis have ever been. And that makes them immediately palatable to an America that loves Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo and the Foo Fighters and Springsteen and all those acts who are entertainers, which is something Oasis have never been up until now. They knew exactly what they were here for. They had a purpose, and they fulfilled that purpose very, very, very well, very effectively.
Do you agree, final point on Oasis, Mark and I were talking about this while you were away, that this has been so big in America, they won't stop?
Oh, they won't. No, they absolutely won't stop. Yeah, they can't. I mean, also, they appear to be really enjoying it. Noel and Liam are coming out arm in arm every night, which for fans is just, it's a beautiful thing to watch. And they appear to be getting on better than they ever have. It's amazing what 100 million quid can do, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
A fractured relationship. But I don't think it's just that. I think they are genuinely really lapping up just how well this has gone. I don't think either of them were expecting it to go so well. And I think the thing for Noel is his, if you get down to brass tacks and break it down to its essentials, it's his bugbear was always that Liam wasn't professional enough, really.
Right. Yeah,
that's what annoyed him the most, because Noel's a pro and he always has been.
Yeah, that's true.
And Liam's wild tendencies just really, really grated and ultimately caused the end of the band. Now Liam's dropped all that, and he's clearly wanted to do this ever since they broke up.
Yes.
Really, really, really wanted to. Now he's doing it. Finally, he's got his way. There's no chance that he's going to do this. He's going to even think about doing anything to mess this up.
So if you're a member of the High Flying Birds or the what's Liam's band called?
Liam Gallagher, I suppose.
Oh, is it? Okay. Things are looking a bit poor for you, aren't they, really? Because they ain't coming back, are they?
I don't think so. I don't think there's any need to now. I mean, I can't see them. They can't step down, can they? No. They
can't go down the level.
Because both those outfits were formed out of necessity, really.
Yeah.
And I mean, why would you?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
So, okay, you agree with us that they're never going away and they'll be touring forever. Now, the other thing we should touch on is that you didn't just see Oasis in your week in LA.
There was more.
You had a bit of a star-studded week, didn't you? Tell us about this.
Did. So the first night, it just so happened the Supergrass were in town the night before, and I play in Danny Goffey's band, and so he very kindly sorted us out some guest lists. So we went to see them at the Hollywood Palladium, and the last time I saw them was at Roundhouse a few months ago, and they're just brilliant. They never made a bad record ever, and their songwriting is so clever and funny and dynamic, and they're just a wonderful, wonderful band. But okay, so there are two levels at the Hollywood Palladium. There's the sort of general admission on the floor where everybody's standing, and there's the sort of balcony kind of row that encompasses the whole, it's semicircle around the whole venue, and we were up there. And my partner...
So you were in the toffs bit, weren't you? You were in the privileged bit, weren't you?
There was a barrier. There was a barrier.
And you were the other side of the barrier.
We were the other side of
That's
barrier.
all anybody wants. Are you which side of the red rope are you on? That's basically what goes on. Go on.
And my partner notices Jack Black mooching about, and she says to me, use the force, use the English accent. So I walk up to him and tap him on the shoulder. Excuse me, Mr. Black.
Did you tap him on the shoulder?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was very polite, and we got a lovely photo with him. He was wearing his tie-dye T-shirt and shorts.
He's always in character, isn't he, Jack Black?
He was totally in character. He went, all right, Superman, because I was wearing my Superman T-shirt.
Right.
Course.
Yeah.
And he gave us a lovely photo with several rock poses, and he was just an absolute delight. Really professional. You know, such a seasoned pro. I mean, clearly people do that to him all the time, and he was so effective in being friendly and amenable, and just generally really lovely, and also being quite quick with it as well. So,
yes.
You know,
those guys, you know, the famous people nowadays, if there's one thing they know about, it's selfies.
Yeah,
because every day they post for 50 of them.
Yes.
So I was once, I must have told this story before. I was once in walking through Bloomsbury a few years ago, and I saw Simon Pegg, who'd clearly just been stopped by a couple of blokes.
Okay.
Who were attempting to take a selfie. And he pretty much, in the nicest possible way, he was slightly brisk about it. He was like, hey, just give it to me. Give it to me. You know, and he lined them up and he took it. You know, he knew how to do it because he'd be an expert. Anybody is who's famous. Go on, carry on. So that's Jack Black. So you got him in your Observer's book of, Hollywood celebrities. Who else did you see?
Well, then she spots Dave Grohl.
This is the same place. This is Jack Black and Dave Grohl.
Yeah, well, Supergrass and the Foo Fighters go back a long time because I think they toured together in 95, 96, and they just became firm friends. So whenever Supergrass are in town, Dave will go and see them play.
So one further point. Is she far better at spotting celebrities than you are?
Absolutely.
You see, that's a superpower. I've got that superpower. I'm really good at it.
Oh, really?
Mark Allen, hopeless.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known at all. I mean, he was feet away from us, and I just completely oblivious.
Yeah, no, I'm very good at it. Anyway, so what did you do? You didn't go and tap Dave Grohl on the shoulder?
No, well, so everybody was clearing out by this point, and we were waiting to go backstage, and Dave and his wife were just sort of milling around, and my partner was like, you got to talk to him. I was like, no, I can't. And she's like, use the force, Alex. Use the British accent again. And so I sort of waited patiently while he was finishing a conversation. And then I sort of tapped him on the shoulder and went, I'm really sorry, Dave. And I didn't want a photo because I just thought that'd be enough. And I didn't want anything from him. I just wanted to shake his hand and just say, you know, thanks for everything you've put out into the world. You know, what you do really matters, you know, and you know, it was the only possible thing that I could have given him, you know, just to thank you. And so I shake his hand, and then he looks at my T-shirt and he goes, you can see him thinking. And then he goes, I've got to tell you this. And then he tells me a story about his childhood pertaining to my T-shirt. that I'm going to carry with me to the grave, because I want to walk around for the rest of my life knowing something that only me and Dave Grohl know.
Okay, so you're not going to spoil it by sharing it with us now. No, quite right. Because he obviously had to take charge of that situation, because the good thing about people wanting a selfie is that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end to the encounter.
No, but I was just about to bugger off.
But he doesn't know that. He doesn't know that, does he?
No, because I was like, I'll see you later. We're about to go backstage.
Oh, all right, fine.
Yeah.
Then he stopped you. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't want to be just hanging around there like a lemon for him, of course. But he genuinely, it seemed to both of us, he genuinely wanted to add a bit of value to that conversation. I told him about playing Danny's band as well, so there was a sort of, there was a connecting thread there. But he was just wonderful, and I'm still getting Grohl flashbacks. And I think I will for a long time yet. But
so, of all your things that you did in your week in Hollywood, you went to Disneyland, and
yep, spent 13 hours in the park that day.
You went to Did you go to Universal Studios?
No, we didn't. We were thinking about it, but we didn't.
You saw Oasis. You had your picture taken with Jack Black. You met Dave Grohl. If you could swap it all for just one of those experiences, which would it be?
Oh man. It's a really difficult one, because I feel like.
No, tell me. Just tell me.
What it's impossible, because meeting Dave Grohl was like popping a champagne cork, but watching Oasis was like drinking a really nice pint of Guinness.
Alex, you got to choose one. No, sorry, you'll never get on in this podcasting like. You just got to lunge to an answer, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't matter. Just
Oasis.
Oasis. Okay, Oasis. Now, talking of podcasting, and because that the nature of podcasting is you're doing it off the top of your head. You say stuff all the time. You kind of hope it's correct, and you may occasionally go, I'm not sure I got that right or whatever. But anyway, and you say loads of things, you just loose off thoughts into the universe. And sometimes those things come back. And I got an interesting example of that this week, Alex.
Okay.
Which is, sometime in the last 2 years, I must have said, there's a French TV series made about over 10 years ago now, I think, about a French village under German occupation. It's called the French Village, which Village Français.
That works.
Yeah, yes. And it was shown on UK TV, and then it wasn't. And unlike everything else, it kind of disappeared from streaming. You couldn't get it. And I must have said this in the podcast. I said, I'd love to see that. And this week, I got a communication from Adrian Pierce, who'd been listening, who said, that thing you mentioned, it's back on ITVX. It's called something different. It's called The Line. And honestly, I was so grateful for him for telling me that, because you would never know, would you at all? So it's only a tiny thing. But I just want to say that, to say how grateful I am when somebody gets back to me months later and says, that thing you mentioned, actually, you can get it there or it's here or whatever. So thanks very much to Adrian Pierce and everybody else who knows me.
You're tuned to Word in Your Ear, the longest continuous conversation in rock and roll.
So, Alex, any other business? Do we have any further Patreon supporters?
We do. We have a small group of Patreon supporters to ring in this week.
A small, select, highly valued group. Carry on.
What was the collective now and again? It was a gratitude of Patreon.
A gratitude, I think. Yeah, I think it was a gratitude of Patreon supporters. Yes.
So we have Kevin Harrison.
Kevin, nice to have you aboard, Kevin.
Vin Dougal.
Sorry, say that again. Vin
Dougal, yep.
Short for Vincent, as in
I presume so.
Vincent Crane of Atomic Rooster. Nice to have you along, Vin.
As a Clubhouse patron on the Clubhouse tier is our top subscription tier, which includes all the trimmings, including possibly the greatest birthday present it's possible to receive.
And what is that, Alex?
It's your good self, Dave, and Mark Ellen.
Shitting down your digital drain pipe.
to excitedly rummage through your record collection.
Rummage through your records. Right, go on.
It's James Ewan.
James, so we'll no doubt be meeting James at greater length sometime in the ensuing months. Good.
And subscribing annually, and if you do subscribe annually rather than month on month, you get a 15% discount, which is not to be sniffed at.
Yeah, absolutely. Go on. Who's that? Who's that perspicacious individual?
Well, we have two perspicacious individuals. Indeed, there are Phil Smith.
Phil, yes, you're a wise person, Phil. Go on.
And Andrew Sandel.
Well, good to have you all on board. And if you'd like to know how you can be involved as a patron yourself, if you go to patreon.com/word in your ear, you'll find out how you get involved. And you might be joining us on the occasion of your birthday to throw a log on the Word in Your Ear fire. And that honor this week went to Matthew North.
And now it's time for Word in Your Ear's birthday guest of the week.
So, yes, Matthew North, a loyal and valued supporter on the occasion of your birthday, you have a conversational gambit to toss into the ring. So
I do indeed, yes. I got thinking about this because every year I rewatch Live Aid on the day. And there's a couple of bits on there where... for example, Bono's doing an interview with Gambo, and in the background you can hear Queen. So obviously Bono and Paul Gambaccini didn't actually get to see Queen when they were performing because they were doing an interview. Right. And likewise, there's a bit on another documentary where Bob Geldof's just taken a phone call from the Sultan of Brunei or somewhere for £1 million. Again, at the time Queen were playing. So they didn't see Queen at the time on the stage, or not all of it. And so my question is, are there any gigs or concerts that you've been to or could have gone to but didn't, and then you missed something significant? And as an extra question, are there any records that you've been thumbing through in a record shop and you thought there's nothing in there, and then someone next to you comes along, thumbs through the same box and pulls out something you're desperate to own?
Oh gosh, my problem was that for 3 years I made most of my living out of being a live reviewer, so I was always there at the beginning and always saw all the bands in case someone would be quite good. So it's the reverse for me. I'm the guy who saw Dire Straits supporting Slaughter and the Dogs because, I was there early. So I don't know. Have you got any examples of that, Dave, of seeing?
Yeah, I think there must have been occasions where, this is years ago, when Bruce Springsteen used to tour, and I used to go to all of the shows. And then it would invariably be that if you missed the one show, that would be the one where kind of, I don't know, Paul McCartney or somebody would come out. People would always say, oh, you missed this, particular unique aspect of it. But I don't really honestly remember that much. And I'm a bit like you. What I remember mostly are the ones where you saw people who subsequently turned out to be enormous. And it's extraordinary thinking back how few people were there. Like I saw the Jam at the Hope and Anchor, and it was by no means full. And the Hope and Anchor was just, as you know, it's like your back room, really, wasn't it? You would have thought it was impossible not to fill it.
Yeah.
That's more the kind of thing that I tend to remember. I do think that's interesting, though, that Gambaccini talking to Bono with the strains of Queen in the background, because you never know what goes down in history, do you at all? Have you seen? I was looking again at that thing where in the Beatles' Get Back film recently, where Paul McCartney is playing Get Back to George and Ringo for the first time. And he's just fumbling his way through it. And George can't stop himself yawning.
Yeah, he's yawning because he's so hungover.
And you feel like saying,
just got in.
Pay attention, George. They'll be talking about this moment,
I know.
50 years.
You want to clamber into it and tap him on the shoulder, don't you? And say, mate, this is going somewhere. I know. Trust me.
I think the first time I watched Get Back, that moment of Paul working on that riff, that's the absolute killer bit of the whole 8 hours.
It is absolutely extraordinary because you realise when you see it again, it hardly changed at all from what and it's such a daft song. You know what I mean? It was just the first lyrics that came into his head as he was working it up.
Yeah.
That's what we still revere.
It doesn't really have a chorus, does it? It's just the same 4 lines over and over again. There's no middle section. My only trouble with that bit is that he knew he was being filmed. Had he worked something out beforehand? And was he just compressing that idea? Was he, in some sense, gaming us? I really don't know. I hope not. And it doesn't matter if he was, because he could have got that riff in the night and tried something out and thought, I'll just try and develop it in 90 seconds. It's all over in about 2 minutes and suddenly it comes out.
Well, I suppose you don't know how much of that has been trimmed down. I mean, that might have actually taken, maybe half an hour or something, and they've just condensed it a little bit.
No, I don't think so.
It feels like real
I think it's
time.
one shot. It's in real time, and because they start joining in, because Ringo, bless him, immediately starts clapping. And singing along, Get Back, and he can hear something in it instantly. So I don't agree with that, actually. I think it really does. And then I think it just carried. And then at one point, I think John Lennon just turns up after about 2 or 3 minutes, takes his coat off, looks at what chord they're playing, and joins in. It's just phenomenal, really.
It's like, the story of Come and Get... Is it Come and Get It? The one that he wrote for Badfinger.
Oh, when he went in and did the demo.
Because he woke up in the middle of the night with the idea of that. And then he lived round the corner from Abbey Road. He got there before the rest of the group, said to whoever was tape op, just try this. Did it, played the drums, played the bass, played the piano, and then said, it's finished.
And didn't he say to Badfinger, if you do it like that, it'll be a hit?
Yes.
And when you listen to that demo and then you listen to their version, they did it almost precisely like that.
It's almost like all they did was swap over the vocals and then that was it.
Yeah. Because they were tempted, apparently, one account, they wanted to add something of themselves to it. And somebody said, no, don't do that. Just leave it as so. So is there anything, Matthew, that you have missed?
Well, there's been a couple of things. It's like the daftest one, I suppose, was at the time I was working at Radio Cornwall. Pete Townsend was playing a gig at the Hall for Cornwall. It was a one-off show. And for some reason, I didn't go. I think it was on a night when I wasn't actually down there. So I didn't go. And that's a big regret. In the same year, Duran Duran played down the road when Warren was still the guitarist. And for some reason, I didn't go to that. And I did miss a few what were considered legendary shows at my local club in Exeter, the Cavern. I did see Muse in their early days, but I didn't go and see Coldplay in their early days because I didn't think they were very good. I think there's been a few like festival-y type things I've been to. The biggest one, I'll tell you what this was. I was at the Primavera Sound Festival in Barcelona in 2012. I'd blagged my way in via a friend of mine that was in one of the bands there, and Marilyn Faithfull was playing. And I really wanted to go and see her. And so me and my then girlfriend stomped off to find the venue. We couldn't find the entrance to the venue.
Couldn't get in.
Couldn't find the entrance. Couldn't find the door. I had an access all areas pass. Couldn't find the door. So, yeah, that's probably my number one big miss.
I think there's a book in this. Gigs I have missed, you should talk to people about. You've got to have the most mundane reason for missing it, possibly. Yeah. Of course, eventually, if you live long enough, everything becomes legendary in retrospect, doesn't it? So yeah, everything gets talked about years later. I'll tell you the one Mark and I often talk about. Mark and I both saw Joni Mitchell, didn't we, in a kind of...
There was a promotional launch for the Dog Eat Dog album, I think.
Was it Dog? I can't even remember.
Yeah, it was, because we both got a print. A print of her picture of the cover, Dog Eat Dog, which we've subsequently absolutely traced, signed print. Yeah. And she played to about, I don't know, maybe 18, 20 people, maybe less, actually. Just because she wasn't very popular at the time.
It wasn't very popular.
And we just thought we must go along. And we just talked to her and she sat down and played the piano. And I remember coming up, pinching myself, thinking, this is pretty extraordinary. And it seems more extraordinary, actually. Every year.
Yeah. That's what happens. Well,
there could be another book in this as well. Major artists' lean years when they weren't that popular.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, a lot to be said for that.
Martin Fry used to go to kind of Club 1830 holiday things and just sing 4 tracks to what was actually just then a cassette, like karaoke, doing his version of The Look of Love, Can you imagine? I mean, and now he's playing the Albert Hall again with an orchestra. Great.
Yeah. I mean, you'd never think it, but in the mid-90s, The Cure played Earl's Court. and they had very poor ticket sales, and the venue tried to charge them for the black drapes to cover the empty seats.
Oh, really?
And I mean, now wherever they would play, it sells out in seconds.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that. There's where we're going to end. I saw The Cure at the Moonlight Club, and I suppose it must have been early '78. Playing to again 25 people, I think. Ian Birch, the Melody Maker, me, and a handful of others.
Yeah.
There it is.
And whatever happened to them?
What happened to them?
This podcast was brought to you by The Word.